Hello everyone, I have some updates regarding as ever with my work. If you've looked at my community posts, I've been doing a little bit of research here and there, and I've uncovered more, pretty much game over as ever or as never, because there's a really big glitch with the manufacturing and distribution of the product or products of as ever. And we'll go through it. So do you remember, I think it was People, but there was an article about the workers being over it with Megan. Megan's workers or staff being over it. Firstly, Megan isn't operating the business. It's under Snow Commerce, and Snow Commerce is an e-commerce site. It does not distribute products. It does not package products. It works fundamentally as an e-commerce platform to give customer service, to handle the online ordering system, okay, to manage the the system behind the purchasing and the inventory. It can connect the business itself or their client to manufacturers and to distributors, but they are not themselves the distributors or the manufacturers, because they have a head office at 1340 Clay Street, Cincinnati, Ohio. It is literally like a tech office, like a Facebook or a Google, and it's just an open office with boardroom meetings. Boardrooms for meetings, and it has just this open space of desks and computers, because it is simply an online service, a business that provides an e-commerce online service. So this is what's very, very interesting in that article that talks about staff being over it, which are the factory staff. This is the factory staff. So this is the video of this production of this jam. Now, the factory or the manufacturer would be a contractor, or it would be a separate. It would be a completely separate thing from Meghan Markle and from Snow Commerce if it was real and legitimate. And as I said, the manufacturing address should be listed on the products, for which no one is bringing forth. I've just had a Squatty account. I asked for the back of the label, and to be honest, there's no back label. It's either on the side, on each side. There's the nutritional label information, and then there's on the other side the barcode with the information that I want. So she didn't even bother to ask what side, and she was not going to provide anything. And that is proof enough that this is a whole sham, because why wouldn't you provide that? It's meant to be public information. It's not that I'm hateful. It's not that I'm obsessive. I'm asking for, I have a right, you have a right, any American has a right to contact Snow Commerce in Cincinnati, Ohio, and ask them and request for that information for the manufacturing location, right? It is meant to be public information. It is to legitimize the business operations, the operations and production of these food items, especially the raspberry spread. Or no, it's not even a preserve, because as I said earlier, it doesn't meet FDA approval of 45% fruit content. It has nothing to do with sugar content. So that all being said, in this article, it actually says right down the bottom here, if I can get to it. A Netflix source claims that staff were asked to sign NDAs to ensure the location of the factory remains, and it says, remains secret. That there is not even just a red flag. It actually exposes that this whole operation is fraudulent. It's a PR sham. So it's game over already. This is meant to be public information. You don't sign NDAs to hide the manufacturing location. Okay? It's meant to be public information. So we've already proven as well with the Saturday deliveries that they were a sham, because the deliveries are only meant to happen Monday to Friday, even with a 2-day expedited delivery. So we've got that there as well. I could try to find the barcode. I can try to get that side of the label to identify the manufacturing location, but I don't really need to at this point either. So let's move on. Her raspberry jam, which isn't a jam, it's a spread, which is made in a factory. So they have publicly stated that. I want to be sure about that. And then I want to make sure that with the actual branding and the photography, they actually added on the nutritional information a lot later on, before they were actually marketing the product. See, it's not there. It doesn't even look like it was. If I can show you down here, might be able to find it. Oh. Okay, Anna. What a wanker. Let me have a look. This is what it's meant to look like on that side. And that's the closest thing I can get to that side. So this is the information that you're meant to show. Manufacturer, packer, or distributor. Oh, and by the way, as I said, and I've said many times, there was Elizabeth Holmes, who is a controlled account, and whoever the hell she is, not Theranos. Nothing. It's not that psycho. It's just a different one. Who received a box, of course, after she told everyone that she was unsuccessful in putting through an order. The next day she received a box, and all these boxes are not just given a part of this PR sham and this business sham, are given to these people to pretend that they've bought and received these items, when the box isn't, as somebody pointed out, and I thank you for that, I can't remember, credit to them, but the box is not a part of the purchase, and the cards that say their names aren't a part of the purchase either. They are literally gifts to, not gifts, I wouldn't say they're gifts, it's a PR stunt and a psyop, really. And when Elizabeth, after the day after, when I popped the question to Snow Commerce asking for the manufacturing location, she tried to deflect and put through the distribution location, and saying that the shipping label said something about Nashville. Was it Nashville in Illinois? It was Illinois. Let's just leave it at, Nashville in Illinois. And that's a massive rabbit hole you can go down. Wink, wink. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, I've actually found the shipping label, because some village Sussex idiot, squatty idiot, has actually photographed it when opening up their box of goodies. So let's go there. So the initial product didn't have any nutritional table information, making sure that it was FDA compliant, that the product was compliant at all. And that's all I can see from that photograph, for a part of the branding. But this is all new. So they've put through that nutritional table to make it look legitimate. And they haven't ensured that they need FDA approval by making it a spread, because they can't legitimize a PR sham, can they? So let's move forward to this. So I found a image of the box and I zoomed in, and you can see here that it's not just that on the website, other than it saying it has no return policy because of the nature of the goods, which is, again, I know it's discretionary, but it's very, very questionable for a food business not to have a return policy, as I've explained a lot earlier. But that Snow Commerce is meant to act as purely the e-commerce company managing Megan's e-commerce website. They are her affiliate, the As Ever's affiliate, not As Ever as the company. Okay, they're not meant to be acting as a company. They are its affiliate, and they are meant to be a separate location and a separate company. But on the box, on the shipping box and the shipping label, you've got As Ever under the address of Snow Commerce in Cincinnati, Ohio, 1340 Clay Street, Cincinnati, Ohio. Let's have a look here. 1340 Clay Street, Cincinnati, Ohio. And this is what I was talking about. A Mark Zuckerberg kind of setup. With no distribution or manufacturing services other than connecting or liaison with local distribution partners and manufacturers. They do not distribute products. No wonder why there's no return policy. So let's have a look here. Now this says, I asked AI, does Snow Commerce does it distribute products for clients, enterprise clients like As Ever or Meghan Markle? Firstly, it shouldn't have As Ever. It should even have, possibly it could have Snow Commerce trading as Ever or vice versa, but it really shouldn't, because that's not the legal registration of the business, As Ever. So they shouldn't be acting under the address of Snow Commerce, right? And they clearly, Snow Commerce or As Ever did not distribute these products. And there should be no secret confidential information on the manufacturing or distribution location. So we've already proven now Elizabeth Holmes, whatever that village idiot is, has lied about the shipping content or the shipping label leading to Nashville, Illinois. That's absolute bullshit. Unless they're talking about tracking and they're talking about where the initial distribution came from. But the shipping label itself on the box, which is, I think, what she has mentioned, doesn't, who people started contacting her to tell her this really vital information. Yeah. That should have the distribution location. So then people would know where it's distributed, or not even people should know, legally, the distributor should be sending the parcels and the products. And it's not particularly, it's very, very highly, highly questionable having As Ever listed as Snow Commerce or Snow Commerce listed as Ever with their address, and they can't distribute products at all. So anyway, they're a passive conduit for distributing user-generated content rather than distributing products themselves. They're not a product distributor. Their role is to facilitate the viewing and distribution of user-generated content, online content, not to handle the distribution of physical products. That's why there's no return policy. But they also didn't package and send these items. So who did? And you can see a video, you can look this up. untangling merchandising with Snow Commerce, they focus on merchandising strategies rather than product distribution. And here on the terms of use on the As Ever website, it confirms this. Participation disclaimer. Snow Commerce does not and cannot review all communications and materials posted to or created by users accessing the store, and is not in any manner responsible. So they're not responsible for the products they supposedly distribute, which is not even in their portfolio of services. In any manner responsible for the created by accident, and is not in any manner responsible for the content of these communications and materials. You acknowledge that by providing you with the ability to view and distribute user-generated content on the store, Snow Commerce is merely acting as a passive conduit for such distribution for As Ever, the company. They're separate companies and they are an affiliate. They are a part of a participation disclaimer because they are a participating partner and affiliate, and is not undertaking any obligation or liability relating to any contents or activities on the site. Now just remember, guys, this is the bottom of the page of the website. As Ever 2025, As Ever Enterprises LLC, all rights reserved. It's meant to be in California. It's a completely separate address to an Ohio Cincinnati address. Snow Commerce, however, which is the address and location supposedly of As Ever, which is really confusing, who distributes their products, which is also really confusing, is the seller of all merchandise and is solely responsible for all aspects of your purchase. So they may be managing the purchase and the order and the distribution. They themselves do not distribute the product. They should not distribute the product. They should not have that address listed as Ever, and they should not be listing it as the distribution address. They really should have a return policy because it's food. And they should have FDA approval for that jam, because it should be a jam if they want to price it like that, rather than some sort of false advertising, which is illegal and unlawful, about this being really more about, let's say, the majority of the jam being fruit content, which it isn't. It can't be, because it's labeled as a spread and therefore does not need FDA approval. Therefore, you've got a diluted, and that's why it's so runny. You've got a diluted product, and that's why you call it a spread, and you can put it on ice cream. Oh my God, it's just so luxurious. I paid $20 USD for shipping. If this is legitimate and genuine, right? I paid $20 US shipping for a $14 US spread, not even a jam, just for the branding and to create a shrine of jam in my house and to photograph it and say, look what I've got. Megan is such an entrepreneur. She's so amazing. And I'm just like, stuff you to all the haters. I'm going to promote this because I support entrepreneurs and women being women, especially Black women being strong, being elegant and amazing. And I'm just so delusional that I don't have any grounding in reality and no logic whatsoever. And this is what I do in my spare time. Actually, all my time. Megan doesn't run this business. It is a PR sham. I've already shown you how the palace are involved with their royal rota, that they're legitimizing this whole sham. And Brittany, Royal News, I have been talking to her today, and I've said to her that she's the only anomaly out there that hasn't received their product yet for 2-day delivery, because mostly people have received more products, supposedly, wink wink, today, which are all Sussex people. I'm sure there will be royalists because they're trying to legitimize this as true. And she's saying that it's still stuck in the distribution center. I wonder if she's willing to tell me where the distribution center is. I might ask her now, and see where that takes me. But she's still adamant that it's all Meghan. It looks bad on Meghan. And I said, well, you actually don't know that she's operating the business and you haven't provided proof of that. So there's still a concerted effort to make this legitimate in some way, to make it about either Meghan bad, Operation Good, business real, Meghan fake and evil. And that's going to be the narrative, that if something stuffs up, that's what it's going to be. So you've got that running. But at the moment, it's pretty much game over already. I don't need a manufacturing or distribution address, really, because they're sending the products from Snow Commerce, which is just, what on earth? And why would you hide the manufacturing or distribution address when it's meant to be legally public? And why can't anyone request that information and get an answer? And why do people sign NDAs to hide the location? Please, if you're American, I strongly suggest and urge that you contact Snow Commerce, because they have their website, their email address listed on this FAQ or contact for as ever. I suggest you contact them and ask them for the distribution address or the manufacturing address that's listed on the jam label or the food labels, the food packaging labels. They should definitely be listed. It's a legal requirement. So let me know if you get any answers, and see how you go there. And what else? I think that's about it, really. I think that's about it. See you guys.